congratulations. But now it's time to get back into this match. Tom currently has a 1-0 lead over Surrender. We're moving into Cube Warlock versus Aggro Druid, and this is a tense matchup. We saw this in the first semifinal with Frozen versus Jason Joe, and Frozen was able to get the better of him, but it took near perfect play in order to do so. There was many moments in that series where if he made a different line than what he did, he would have been dead the following turn. So you have to walk on eggshells in this matchup and make sure you're thinking about everything if you're in Tom's shoes.
Now that same goes for Surrender in this spot as well. I mean, it came down to the end where Jason Joe, if he would have traded off the second Mistress of Mixtures, it wouldn't have been able to attack into Jason Joe's 1-2 and set up a big Defile play. Even that one little moment could have changed the way that looked. Every single thing in this matchup is paramount because the edge is just that close.
That's right. On Surrender's perspective, he has to worry about playing around the various removal spells that Tom packs, the Defiles, the Hellfires. He has to worry about maximizing his damage because 1 point of misdamage can mean the difference.
That's a good looking hand from Tom. 2 kobolds to upgrade that Spellstone the full way. After both of those, that'll be a 7-point drain for 4 mana. He's got Defile in hand to help clear the board already. He's got Mortal Coil to pick off weak minions and draw extra cards from that. This is about the ideal hand for Tom in this spot. He's got the tools he needs to fight off Surrender's pressure early.
He still needs to find some of those pieces later on in the game, though. He needs to find something to solidify that victory. Possess Lackey into a Dark Pact or a way to trade it off. Void Lords with a Skull of the Minari. But the one thing we talked about in Tom's deck, and this is why Surrender chose to not ban the Warlock despite it being by far the most popular ban choice in this tournament, and that's that Tom is playing the greedier version. He's playing the versions that have Doomguard, which means Possess Lackey plus Dark Pact all of a sudden only has a 50% chance in those cases to pull a Void Lord. And if you pull a Doomguard, oftentimes, while it can fight for the board, it doesn't block enough damage to be able to win you the game.
Yeah, not only does he have the Doomguards in there, but he's also got the Mountain Giants as well. His goal was to be stronger versus Priest when it comes to pressure in the matchup. And all of those cards combined together means that Surrender has a window of opportunity to push the aggression and end the game. It's a very small window of opportunity, and it's not always there, but sometimes it is. And so Surrender, when he sets up right here, he's pretty much strong to anything that Tom can come with on this turn. And that Mark of the Yashiraj set up to give him draw into the deck, find a Savage Roar, and try to end that game as soon as possible. And Tom drawing 2 Mountain Giants here is a big hurt for him.
That is not what he wants to see. Those cards are, in a lot of situations, unplayable against fast matchups because you have to tap and draw so many cards early on.
Surrender sets up the Dire Mole here, and that gives Tom the Kobold into Defile. Now there's a 1 health, 2 health, 3 health, and 4 health minion, and they're all gone.
That's a big swing.
But that's a big reload.
Yeah. Maybe that's what Surrender was thinking. Maybe he was also thinking that, well, he plays the first Kobold Librarian, and that's the only card that activates that in the rest of his deck. I can dodge the second one here in order to put power on the board.
Can he afford to Mountain Giant in this spot? He's facing down 11 damage. Savage Roar will kill him outright. Mark of Yashiraj plus any board buff will kill him outright. And even if he lives after he plays the Mountain Giant, what does he do from there?
Yeah, and the thing is, not only does he go, it's a matter of, will he ever have time to stabilize if he takes that much damage? Even if he's not looking at lethal damage, if he takes that much damage, even if Surrender doesn't have Savage Roar, he's probably in a bad spot anyway. So a wise choice by him to get that Spellstone out of the way. But now he needs, what, Hellfire? Exactly. 15 points of damage being represented on the board.
He's got nothing defensive in hand. This is the nightmare for Tom, is you draw all of your clunky cards, and you never have an opportunity to wipe out the second wave of pressure.
Mountain Giant Mixtures seems like the only play that he can really make. And then he has to hope for a miracle draw, and Surrender is still on Mark of the Lotus as an out to win the game moving into the next turn. He's got 2 copies left in his deck.
That's why I look at this hand and I wonder, how does Tom win if he actually just plays the big boys? He can't. I think that this is possibly a life tap scenario and hope for the best. Oh! Hellfire gets found. But Tom's not out of it yet. So that's all that mana that Surrender's invested now goes back into Surrender's pool. So the second living mana gets to come out in this spot. He gets to add another minion to that if he wants. And then it's Wave of Pressure number 2. Can Tom handle both of them? Or number 3, rather. Excuse me.
Surrender going to throw out the Dire Maul here.
Just an extra minion.
Just an extra minion.
No Dark Pact. He's facing 13 points as well.
Does he have to tap again?
That's another nightmare
second
scenario.
Hellfire.
He could also draw Defile in that spot because he has Mortal Coil in his hand to activate it.
6%
for one draw.
For one draw. 6% chance.
He can get the second Defile.
Hellfire.
So he has 2 outs.
Defile?
And it's 6 and change percent, so it's about 13% to
Yeah.
hit a second one here.
Because he could Mortal Coil down one of the minions and then Defile.
Side effects? No.
This keeps him alive for an extra turn, though. Yeah, that's a clever use from Tom. We actually saw Frozen do that exact same thing to try to gain life further down the road. And so Surrender, he looks nervous about this, but he does not have an option. It's forward march.
Yeah. That's just sort of a battle of odds. With 2 draws for Mark of the Lotus, that's an 11% chance to win for Surrender. If Tom taps, he has a 13% chance to draw.
So now he's given himself the extra turn of draw plus a life tap draw after that. But that life tap draw will cut Defile. Defile would not be an out in that situation. So in this spot, he also gets stuff like Dark Pact. Can potentially bring him back into it.
What's in the 4? Prince Taldaram.
I think Tom's gonna tap again. Dark Pact gets drawn, but he doesn't have the mana to possess Lackey and Dark Pact.
Can Dark Pact the cube?
Can he wipe enough damage off board to win in that spot? So he takes 2 off from one of the Treants. That leaves 11 for Surrender plus the hero power at 12. Dark Pact only brings him to 10.
Doesn't look like enough. He needed that Dark Pact off the top, and then he needed to take that 50% chance to get Void Lord instead of Doomguard. And he
Wow, Surrender ties it up. All in pressure is the name of the game for his aggro druid.